Humans have been seeing images since the dawn of time, but the question is, how to communicate the images the eye sees? Describing images had to suffice for several centuries, or creating crude representations such as those we see in cave paintings. First, let's see how the eye works. Reflected light enters the eye through the cornea and lens to project onto the photoreceptors of the retina, whose impulses converge on the optic nerve. This image is upside down until it reaches the brain, where the images we see are processed. A similar process is used in a camera obscura, which is Latin for darkroom. The image is reflected upside down through a small hole. This originated from the pinhole camera, which was created during the epoch of Grecian power. As you can see here, the pinhole camera is a simplified version of the camera obscura, which was used as an aid to artists. The camera obscura was the first step towards recording images as the eye sees. The first photograph was taken in 1826 by Joseph Nitzsche when he exposed a bitumen-covered plate in a camera obscura. In 1837, Louis Daguerre invented the daguerreotype, the first publicly marketed camera. The daguerreotype was the first camera to successfully create a lasting image. Notice how many components there are to this grandfather of the modern camera. Here is a photo taken with a daguerreotype. In 1841, William Henry Talbot patented the calotype process, in which several copies of the same image could be made. The calotype sacrificed some of the clarity of the daguerreotype. However, it was the first negative-positive process for creating a photo. In 1851, the wet plate process was invented. This process used the chemical collodion to create the image on glass. Because it used glass and not paper, it created a more stable and detailed negative. 1861 brought the first color photo, which was photographed separately on red, green, and blue plates. James Clerk Maxwell's photo of a multicolored tartan ribbon was the first photograph to appear in color. The first camera to be mass-marketed debuted in 1900, the Brownie camera. The Brownie brought photography to the masses. Finally, a way to record images as the eye sees them was available to the average consumer. In 1931, Harold Egerton invented the stroboscopic light. The stroboscopic light, also called a flashbulb, was used to take clear photos of fast-moving subjects. It was 1936 when Kodak released Kodachrome, a 35mm film which was industry standard for most of the 20th century. With 35mm film, professionals and amateurs alike could have their film developed. But in time, 35mm film would be overshadowed by the digital revolution. The first digital camera was built in 1975 by an engineer at Kodak. It weighed 8 pounds and was not meant for mass production. The first true digital camera came about in 1988. It was created by Fuji and it recorded to a 16-megabyte internal memory card that used a battery to keep the data in memory. The next step was installing digital cameras in cell phones. The first camera phone was invented in the late 1990s, the pinnacle of instant visual communication. The first picture sent via phone was in 1997, and communication has never been the same. Today, camera phones allow effortless visual communication. The question remains, what's next for cameras? One thing is for certain, the communication world will be continually impacted by the ever-changing camera.
Da-da-da.